Right now, traveling at roughly 17,000 miles an hour, a few hundred kilometers above your head, there is a frozen flake of paint that could kill a person. Not metaphorically, at orbital speed, a fleck of paint hits with the force of a bullet. A bolt hits like a hand grenade. And there are tens of thousands of objects up there, bigger than a bolt, plus millions of smaller ones nobody can even track, all of them moving fast enough to turn a working satellite into a cloud of shrapnel in a fraction of a second. We know exactly where most of the dangerous pieces are. We have the technology to start removing them. We have international agreements, space agencies, billion-dollar companies, and governments that all agree out loud that this is a serious and growing problem. And almost none of it is getting cleaned up. Not because we can't, because of a much stranger reason. There is no version of the world where it makes financial or legal sense for anyone to actually do it. The job exists, the danger is real, and the responsibility belongs very specifically to no one. You'd assume the people who launched all this junk are responsible for it. That's how it works everywhere else. You make a mess, you clean it up. If a factory dumps waste in a river, we have laws, fines, liability. Somebody pays. Now here's the part that breaks your brain. The space junk problem has the opposite structure of almost every other pollution problem on Earth. With a river, the polluter is identifiable, the damage is local, and the cleanup benefits the polluter's own neighborhood. In orbit, the dead satellite is still legally owned by whoever launched it decades ago. The damage is shared by everyone on the planet who uses space, and the benefit of cleaning it up goes to everybody except the person who pays for it. So you get a situation that sounds impossible. Every single country and company would be better off if the junk were gone. And yet, no single country or company has any reason to be the one who removes it. The thing everyone wants is the thing no one will pay for. The orbit above your head is the cleanest possible example of a problem where doing the right thing is, for every individual player, the wrong financial move. The day orbit changed forever. This isn't speculation. In 2009, a defunct Russian military satellite, Cosmos 2251, slammed into an active American commercial satellite, Iridium 33, at a combined speed of tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. It was the first major accidental collision of its kind, and it instantly created thousands of new pieces of debris, each one now its own hazard. 2 years earlier, in 2007, China deliberately blew up one of its own old weather satellites in a missile test, creating one of the single largest debris clouds in history. Both events made orbit permanently more dangerous for everyone. Neither resulted in anyone cleaning anything up. The wreckage is still up there. Some of it will be up there for centuries. Why shared resources always end badly? To understand why nobody acts, you need to understand how problems like this normally get solved on Earth, because we're actually very good at it. When many people share a resource that anyone can use and no one owns, economists call it a commons, a shared pasture, a fishery, clean air. The rule is that commons get destroyed because each individual has an incentive to take as much as they can while paying none of the cost of the damage. The classic example is a shared field where every farmer adds one more cow. Each farmer gets the full benefit of their cow. The cost of overgrazing is split among everyone. So everyone keeps adding cows until the field is dead. The reason that rule exists is that the cost of using the resource is shared, but the benefit is private. That gap is what destroys the commons. And here's how we normally fix it. We assign ownership so someone has a reason to protect it. Or we regulate it with enforced limits and fines. or we tax the damage so the polluter pays for the harm they cause. Property rights, regulation, or liability. One of those three almost always works. The law that broke every solution. Now here's what breaks every single one of them in orbit. You can't assign ownership of orbit, because a 1967 treaty signed at the dawn of the space age explicitly declares that no nation can claim sovereignty over any part of space. Nobody owns it, and legally, nobody is allowed to. You can't easily regulate it, because there is no global space police and no court that can fine a sovereign nation for leaving a dead satellite up there. And you can't make the polluter pay, because the same treaty says that whoever launched an object keeps jurisdiction and ownership of it forever. Think about what that means. That dead Russian satellite isn't abandoned garbage you're free to grab. It is still legally Russian property. If an American company sent up a robot to remove it, that could be treated as interfering with another nation's space asset. The junk is simultaneously worthless and untouchable. Imagine a neighborhood where the law says you may never own the street, you may never be fined for dumping on it, and every piece of trash legally belongs to whoever dropped it forever. So you're forbidden from picking up anyone else's. That is low Earth orbit. 4 reasons nothing happens. Now watch how each layer makes it worse. The first layer is the free rider problem. Cleaning up debris is expensive, and the benefit is spread across every satellite operator on Earth. So the rational move for each one is to wait and hope someone else pays for it. Everyone waiting for everyone else is why the field stays full of cows. The second layer is the legal trap we just covered. Even a country that genuinely wanted to clean up someone else's junk would need explicit permission from the original launching state, because that dead satellite is still their sovereign property. So cleanup isn't just expensive, it's a diplomatic negotiation for every single object. The third layer is where it gets genuinely dark, and it's the contradiction at the center of this whole thing. To remove a dead satellite, you need a machine that can find another object in orbit, sneak up on it, grab it, and drag it out of the sky. Now read that sentence again and ask yourself what else that describes. A robot that can grab a dead satellite can grab a live one. A debris removal vehicle and an anti-satellite weapon are functionally the same machine. So the moment any nation builds a credible junk-cleaning robot, every rival nation has to assume it might actually be a weapon designed to disable their satellites. The single most useful tool for solving the problem is indistinguishable from the most provocative weapon you could deploy in space. The cleanup vehicle is the weapon. The fourth layer is the one that ties it to you. The people generating the most new debris by launching more and more satellites face essentially no bill for the risk they're adding. The cost lands on the future, on everyone, and on the orbit itself, while the benefit of launching lands on the company doing it today. Every new satellite makes the next collision more likely, and the worst-case version of that is a chain reaction called Kessler Syndrome, named after the NASA scientist who described it in 1978. One collision creates debris, which causes more collisions, which create more debris, until entire orbital zones become an impassable cloud of shrapnel. Lose those orbits and you lose GPS, weather forecasting, much of global communications, and the ability to launch anything new through the wreckage for generations. The rules that made cleanup impossible. Go back to that flake of paint, moving faster than a bullet, that nobody owns and nobody will retrieve. We like to believe that when a danger is obvious enough and the stakes are high enough, someone steps in. That seriousness summons responsibility. Orbit is proof that it doesn't. Here is a threat that every expert acknowledges, that could one day wall humanity off from space entirely. And the reason it festers has nothing to do with technology or awareness. It's that we built the rules of space in 1967 for a world with a handful of satellites. And those rules accidentally guaranteed that the mess could never be cleaned, the polluter could never be charged, and the commons could never be owned. The junk above your head isn't there because cleaning it is impossible. It's there because we designed a system where protecting the thing everyone depends on is, for every single person who could do it, an act of pure charity. And charity against the cold math of orbit has never once been enough.